Thank you for joining us today. Today we will be diving deeper into Azure, talking a little bit more about benefits and costs. We will log into the Azure portal or the Azure calculator to determine how you can calculate costs and so forth. So this is our third of 4 presentations. Our last one will focus on security. So with that said, in today's presentation, we are going to go ahead and discuss, is Azure right for you? What are the benefits? And hopefully help determine some of those costs. Before we do that, I want to give you a little bit of information about Opal. Opal has approximately 20 team members with a wide variety of technical expertise and certifications. Opal is also a Silver Enterprise Partner and CSP with Microsoft. Opal strives hard to serve as an extension of your team, helping you to design and deliver technology solutions to help you anticipate and overcome business challenges. With 2 offices on the East Coast, Opal provides quick and reliable products and service throughout the United States. Opal is able to provide one stop for your technology needs. Whether looking for enterprise level hardware, SMB equipment, or even certified pre-owned, Opal can provide the equipment to meet your needs. Also, Opal provides CSP licensing on Microsoft applications while also customizing any software to meet your needs. And finally, Opal's network services team provides the expertise and knowledge to design, upgrade, and support your entire infrastructure. With Opal's team monitoring and maintaining your network, you will have the latest security protection and meet the industry-verified compliances. My name is Jay Hess. I'll be today's presenter. I'm with Opal Business Solutions. So with that, let's go ahead and begin our presentation. Is Azure right for you? Well, with over 68,000 partners and over 70 compliance standards built in, Azure has been the choice for some of the largest and most well-known companies in the world, from Walmart and Lowe's to Rolls-Royce and BMW. Azure has positioned itself as the leader for cloud computing. No matter the size of your company, the steps to moving to Azure are all the same. The first question you should probably ask yourself is, why are you considering Azure? There's no one reason or one proper way to move to Azure. Organizations must look internally to make this move successful. And in order to do that, you need to ask yourself, why are you considering this move? Many are going to say cost savings. They're looking to save costs over on-premise maintenance and upgrading of hardware. Others are looking for security and compliance. Some are just looking for more reliable availability. There are numerous reasons anyone may make that move. It's up to you to determine why you're making that move. Once you make that determination, then you can start to plan and prepare for the move. So where do we go next after we've determined why we're considering this move to Azure? You want to review your current situation. As I mentioned before, look internally first. Review everything you have currently set up within your organization. How many physical machines do you have on premise? How much storage do you currently use? And what types of storage are you using? Are you using it just for file share? Is it videos, photos, storage that's not normally accessed on a regular basis? What is your network's workload? How much traffic do you have going in and out? How much heavy lifting is your network being asked to do? And then do you have any applications that you regularly use? These are some of the basic questions that you need to look at when you look internally to determine what your current setup is and prepare you for going to the next step towards Azure. After you've looked internally, you want to analyze your current situation. I know this may seem similar to reviewing your situation, but here we're taking a much deeper dive into the workings of your setup. For instance, now that you know how many machines you have, do the machines need to have 100% uptime? Or can the machines be shut down if 100% uptime is not needed? And what I mean by that is, Azure has the capability to shut down machines that say after hours. So if you're only a 9 to 5 business, you can turn the machines off after 5 o'clock. Once again, with Azure, you're only paying for the resources you use. So if you shut down those machines, you're not being charged for those. Does the data that you need, does it need to be hot, or can we utilize cold storage? Hot being data that's readily available and accessed regularly, and cold being data that's accessed not as often. Once again, those are going to help determine your costs by putting some data that maybe, your archives and things like that aren't stored regularly out into cold storage and utilizing some of your files for the hot storage. Can any of your applications use some of Azure's functions or service features? It's no longer good enough just to take the applications and put them into Azure. Start to leverage the tools and the functionality that Azure was designed for, so that once again, cost can be a big savings, but also productivity and performance. Also, what are your security policies? Do you have any in place? Or will you start implementing more thanks to Azure's built-in security features? The idea is to start breaking everything down and trying to determine exactly how you could and should leverage Azure's tools and functionality. This is where it's nice to know Microsoft has over 68,000 partners like Opal available to help create that roadmap with you. That way you don't feel overwhelmed and lost as you continue on this journey. The next step in the process is to prepare yourself. So we've reviewed our current setup, we've analyzed it, we've drilled down deep, we've taken a look at all of our applications, our storage, our machines, security policies, email policies, and so forth. So now we want to utilize Microsoft's tools to help us determine what the setup is that they would recommend for a current environment. Now, once again, this is not just going to help you leverage best practice, but it's also going to give you the features and functionality built within, this is not going to give you the best practice. This is just giving you a replication of what you do now in the cloud. So when you run Microsoft's tools, it'll go ahead, analyze what you currently do, and say, to take this, based on your workload, you're going to set it up as XYZ in Azure. You still want to leverage the partnerships that Microsoft has with their partners to be able to guide you and provide you with best practice and leverage those tools and leverage those services and features within Azure to get the best performance, availability, and cost savings in Azure. Some of the tools that are available: storage emulators. You can go ahead, if you develop applications or you run applications, there are storage emulators available through Microsoft that allows you to test, sample, and determine, will this type of storage work for you? There are migration tools available. By going out to Microsoft's site, they can provide you with migration tools that will help you. Once again, this is just giving you what you currently do rather than creating the best practice for you. You can utilize command line prompts, which you can run those scripts and so forth in command lines, which will allow you to analyze what you currently have and also help you set up things like security processes and policies within Azure, rights management, and other features and services that are available within Azure. And then we also have pricing calculators. Pricing calculators help to give you an idea as to what the costs are going to be and what we can expect to see if we make changes within that environment. Speaking of those pricing calculators, we can go ahead and take a look at the cost to achieve what we're looking to do, but we can also build examples and get a sense as to how these are going to come out and determine what our costs are. As a matter of fact, we're going to jump in and take a look at the pricing calculator at this moment, which is one of those tools available from Microsoft. So by going out to the azure.microsoft.com, there is a pricing calculator out there. The pricing calculator is full retail. There's no discounts or anything that is currently being provided through there. You would want to work with a partner of Microsoft's like Opal to determine if there's any value or discounts that could be offered to you at this time. To give you a little bit of information about this calculator, you have the capability to sign in. If you sign in, the nice thing is you're able to create estimates, save your estimates, and share those with other team members so that they can see what you've built, how you've built it, and they'll be able to contribute their 2 cents and maybe even give an approval on it. If you have any frequently asked questions or need some help, there's an FAQ section as well. Otherwise, we take a look at the products, and if we remember from our first 2 series of our Azure presentations during the Lunch and Learns, we can see those areas we talked about: mobile development, containers, databases, Internet of Things, security, developer tools. Those are all items that are available out here for us to build a sample environment for, to get a sense of what it would cost for us to move to the Azure environment and leverage some of the features and functionality. So if we wanted to utilize virtual machines, for instance, and see what that would cost, we could go ahead, select virtual machines. You can see it's going to go ahead and do a little calculation here. And as we scroll down, it's adding a virtual machine here. So now that I've added a virtual machine, I can go ahead and start changing some of the parameters. So you notice we start at $202.57 a month. But that's because we've chosen an instance that has 2 virtual CPUs, 8 gigs of RAM, 50 gig temporary storage. And you can see how they calculate this out. If we wanted to, we can go ahead and select any one of the other types of virtual machines that are available. Gives you an idea of what the cost is per hour, number of cores, and so forth. So you can really get a sense as to, okay, look, can I get away with this one, or do I really need to bump up, and what the cost may be. So I'll just pick one to change around here. And now you can see we changed it, and now we're up to an estimate of $435.44 based on 730 hours. We can also change and make this a basic tier or a low priority. We could change the region. So let's say we don't want it on the west. but we want it on the east. And then operating systems, if we want operating system, if we also want SQL Server, we can put that in here as well. You have the capability to go ahead and do a pay-as-you-go. So you're just going to pay monthly and continue to pay whatever the estimate is. Or if you're willing to pay in blocks of 1 year, 3 year, Microsoft has some built-in savings that can be utilized for that. You can also change your hard drives, standard SSD, premium SSDs, your disk sizes, and everything you change obviously is going to determine and affect your price. But as you can see, we can see the managed OS disks, storage transactions, subtotal 591.09. But that's not all I want to do. I also want to have maybe I need to add some storage to this, or I need to add an app service. I can go ahead and do so to get some pricing by clicking Add Storage. And when we come down here, we can now see my storage. We can see there's file storage, table storage, data lake storage. We can even go into blobs and so forth. Just depends on what you're looking to store and what is going to be best for you. But as you continue to click, you can change different tiers based on what you're trying to access. So if we just wanted to go blob storage, and then we can say hot, cool, or archived. So we talked a little bit about how frequently we need to access that data. Here we can determine whether it's hot, cool, or archived. The one thing I want to mention is, as we talk about hot access, it's going to cost a little bit more. The cool or the archive will be cheaper. However, they're going to charge you for how often you access that, or they may charge you for how often you access that, or if you access too much data that is typically designed for archive or cool. So you really want to think about how often you're going to access that data. We talked about the write operation. We can see we can alter our write operations. They just put in an estimate there of 100,000 times 0.05, give you an estimate on cost, containers, read operations, your data retrieval based on gigs, and your data write. And it gives you a calculation. Once again, takes both our storage and our virtual machines and puts them down here into a pricing program. The next step behind this is, if you wanted to go ahead and create this for a development or a testing environment, you'd have the capability to do so by clicking on Show Development or Testing Pricing, and there's capability to see how that would work if you spun that up in a non-live environment, but to set it up for testing or development. So there's a lot of functionality behind being able to create an estimate or a quote to see if you have this established correctly. Once again, it's pretty overwhelming, and so that's where it's nice to have the partners available to be able to help you, guide you in the right way, and put best practices in place for you to leverage those features and so forth within Azure. If I wanted to, I can click down and just see some of these other things we've talked about in the previous sessions. Azure Internet of Things. If we want to go with web app services, we can have WordPress, different things like that out there. Developer tools, if we needed to create a development environment. The security functionality, Security Center, Azure Active Directory, distributed denial of service attacks, different things that you can put in, VPN gateways. It's all available here for you to go ahead, add to your estimate, and see what it costs, if it costs anything at all. Some of these you can add, and they're included in your estimates. Okay. So we will go ahead and jump back in here to the presentation. So as we talked about, We had talked about utilizing those tools, the storage emulators, those migration tools, command line prompts, and we had an opportunity to take a look at the pricing calculators and look at the cost of what that was going to be. So now the next step would be preparing yourself for that move, and that would be working to create that project timeline. So now that you've reviewed everything with your current setup, analyzed it, and then went out and utilized the tools that were available either by yourself or leveraging the expertise of the partners that Microsoft has throughout the world, you've established what your costs are going to be, some idea how long it's going to take to do that. So create that project timeline so you can schedule your move and convey any expected downtime to any of your team members. Finally, you need to deliver that new solution. So you want to make the move to Azure, turn off your old environment so you can start realizing the benefits of Azure, like eliminating hardware costs, having high availability being within the Microsoft environment, utilizing the easily scalable functionality built into Azure, so as you need more resources, you can turn those on and off as needed. Paying only for what you use, turning off machines as you don't need them, utilizing more resources as you do. It also provides the only true hybrid solution available. Unlike the other competitors that are available out there, Azure is the only true hybrid solution out there. Entirely compatible with all of the Microsoft offerings and stack, and leverage the security and compliance for any industry out there. So is Azure right for you? The simple answer is yes. Microsoft has made the environment flexible and cost effective for just about anyone. The real question is determining how is it right for you. Don't just take your current environment and put it into Azure. Really think and plan how you will utilize and personally benefit from the Azure infrastructure. The whole purpose behind moving to the cloud is not just to copy what you have locally. The cloud is a new environment. It has new features, new functionality. Make sure that you leverage the features and functionality so that your move to Azure can be the most beneficial it can be. At this time, I'm going to scroll through the chat box, see if there were any questions, and do my best to recite those and answer those. If you do have any questions that you haven't posted yet, please do so now, and give me a few moments while I scroll through everything. So far, it looks like most questions have been addressed. There was a question about the types of virtual machines in terms of the Ds, the Es, the Fs, the As. Those are all be determined on the type of virtual machine you need. What are you using it for is going to help you to determine what letter or type of virtual machine you're going to utilize. That in and of itself can be a discussion for probably an hour, just going through all the different types. Once again, that would be an area where I would leverage the expertise of a partner of Microsoft's to provide guidance and steer you in the right direction. Okay, I'd like to thank everybody for their time. Please keep in mind we have these videos and others on the Opal Business Solutions YouTube channel, and we'll continue to have others out there. Look for our next presentation, which will focus on security in Azure, coming up next week. Thank you again, and everybody have a great day.